Before we get started, we recorded this a week ago, and now most teams have been eliminated from the tournament.
Cafe Tuesday, every Tuesday. Join us next week for your hot cup of coffee.
Welcome back, everybody, to DHS SportsCenter. I am live here at Cask and Pig for our March Madness show, and we have two new special guests joining us today. We have Mr. Bro and Mr. Lima. Welcome, guys.
Thanks for having us.
Thanks for having us.
So,
Glad to be here.
First things first, really, we're going to be before we get into our brackets, we're going to talk about our teams first. Let's go. We're going to go from my team, the Friars, and you'll go talk about your team, and then go to Mr. Lima as well. So right now, really, I want to talk about my Friars this year, and I think we could have done better this year. I know we've lost the past 4 games, especially. We added more talent on our team. We lost a couple seniors this year, and we added like key transfers. We had Clifton Moore transferring. We had Devin Carter transferring, and Bryce Hopkins transfer from Kentucky. They really have another year or so left on their of their college careers, and they're really even Devin Carter and Bryce Hopkins are really 2 valuable players on our team. And what we've seen this year from Providence is they played really competitive this year. And I think they could have beat Xavier, but it is what it is. At least we beat Marquette at the end of the day. All right.
So the Miami Hurricanes, not much I can say. Disappointment each year. But going into the tourney with our starting big, Norchad Omir, injured with a high ankle sprain is not the best thing. However, we're going to make do with it. And as long as we don't lose in the round of 64, I'm going to be satisfied. That's all I have to say.
I'm pulling for the Friars with Ben, so Providence all the way. And Providence coach Cooley, in his presser yesterday, said it only takes 6 wins to win a national title. So if the Friars can get hot at the right time, Benny Smith will be hosting the Natty.
Yeah, hopefully.
Lima, what's up with your team?
Is this a setup? Is this why I was brought here to talk about Carolina?
Well, who are you going to pull for now?
Yeah, I don't know.
It's
tough.
Hey, here's the thing. You went from losing the
Ben's
national
gonna remind
championship, blowing a 15-point lead, then being number 1 in the preseason,
Tough luck.
Just lay it on them.
and then fall down a cliff.
Yeah, it was tough. I think we found out that Brady Manick was maybe the best 3-point shooter in the country last year. We lost him. We couldn't space the floor, and then we had most of our team come back. But when you can just kind of swallow Armando Bacot in the paint,
can't do it.
he still was a double-double machine. But there are clips where literally teams would put up 4 defenders around him because they weren't afraid of our 3-point shooting. So when you can't stretch the floor, that's going to be a problem. Caleb Love went from like one of the most clutch players in the country to
Horrendous.
I mean, he had games where he would go like 0 for 6 in the first half and then maybe hit 1 in the second, nothing out of him.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah, the fact that you say Caleb Love coming from like the top players in the country, then falling off. I could talk to you about Jared Bynum too this year.
Don't get me started on Jared.
Oh, my
Bynum.
gosh.
That's why
Sensitive
we're
topic
focused
for
on-
bro.
We're going positive. We're going 6 wins. That's all it takes.
Jared Brickham, if I would say.
Yeah.
He always bricks so many
Not
shots.
good on
Turnover
defense either,
machine.
man.
Turnover machine, man.
Yeah.
2-force.
Wide open look. He has an open wing, just shoots it, bricks it.
Yeah. I'm excited, though. I think this tournament has a lot of potential. I don't think there's like a clear-cut winner like we've had in years past. So I think it's going to be interesting to see what, we all kind of break down with the brackets here.
Yeah, let's start off with the brackets right now. So we're going to go clockwise, right? I don't know, clockwise or clockwise, yeah. So first off, of course, I have to go with Alabama. And this is the second round. I got Alabama winning, and they'll face Maryland.
You're taking Maryland?
Yeah.
Oh my
Over
gosh.
West Virginia?
Yeah, I don't know, man.
Heck yeah.
West Virginia, that's gonna be a great game. Two physical basketball teams.
Two
right
great
there.
coaches too.
Yep, two passionate head coaches. But I don't know, man. I'm taking West Virginia out of that one. That's gonna be a tough matchup.
So San Diego State, I have beating Charleston, and then Virginia beating Furman. Creighton and Baylor. Missouri, Arizona. Purdue, Memphis. Memphis had a good upset the other night.
So you have no upsets in the first round in the South. That's what you're saying.
You're
And
not
next year-
jumping on the
and next
you're
year-
not jumping on the Charleston bandwagon?
No.
Charleston's good, man. San Diego State, not that great.
Charleston is legit. They are like a legit team here. There's a 5-12 upset in every bracket every year. That's the one right there.
You'll find which one will be an upset in my bracket later on.
Okay.
But Memphis, they're going to have Mikey Williams, who's the #1 prospect in the country. He's going to Memphis next year, and he's a really good player. You know, even LeBron James, his son is going to be going off to college next year. I think Ohio State has offered him. Duke, Tennessee. Duke over Tennessee. Duke beats Oral Roberts, and Tennessee defeats Louisiana. Kentucky, Providence. I got Providence upset by 2 points.
That's the call right now? That's
Yeah.
the call. I don't know if it's going to be 2 points. If Providence escapes that game, Ben, it's going to be
It's going to be a
it
Bryce.
might be a little bit of luck. You think of Bryce Hopkins? How fitting would that be?
Yeah, Bryce
Kentucky transfer.
Revenge
Bry-
game.
Yeah, revenge game.
Bryce Hopkins will come out there, show out in front of his former team, and
hope
prove
so.
them that he was wrong. He was wrong.
I told
And
bro
that they
those
were
are-
wrong. That they were wrong.
Those are like the two streakiest teams in the country,
They
Kentucky
really are.
and Providence.
Two
They both
most
kind of up and down.
inconsistent, yeah.
all
And
year
then
long.
I have Kansas State over Montana State, Michigan State over Michigan State Marquette, excuse me, and on the other side of the bracket, Houston, and then Auburn, Miami, Indiana, Iowa State, and Xavier. Texas A&M and Texas, Battle of the Texas.
Yeah, that could be exciting.
Kansas and Arkansas, and St. Mary's, UConn, TCU, Gonzaga, and Northwestern and UCLA.
I'm throwing this out there. I think Lima low-key is a UConn fan with Principal Shea. I think that's who he's pulling for.
He's supposed to be coming shortly.
Maybe he
hopefully.
pops through.
Yeah, it'd be great. He's a big
Yeah.
UConn guy. He went to
Yeah.
UConn, so I have a lot of respect for what they've done this
All
year.
right,
They're
we'll go
kind of
ahead.
streaky, though.
All right, what do
right.
you have that's different? Please tell me you have some upsets.
All right,
I feel
so-
like Ben went chalk.
I like Ben's bracket a lot so far, and I have Alabama, West Virginia
Yep.
to start off. I'm really glad, Mr. Bro, that you brought up Charleston because I do have the upset here. Charleston over San Diego State. I'm liking Charleston a lot right now. Could be my replacement team if the Hurricanes
You're
lose.
going bandwagon?
Maybe.
Jumping on?
Maybe.
That's a Cinderella right
And
there.
then I do have Virginia over Furman. Creighton over NC State. For me that one I kind of want to pick NC State because I'm not too impressed with Creighton, but my gut is telling me to go with Creighton, so I'm going to do it.
Yeah,
I'm taking
Creighton, honestly, I think their starting five might be one of the best collectively in the entire country.
Yeah.
They're not very deep, though, right?
They don't have, there's no depth. They
Yeah.
play a six-man roster, so it's like somebody gets in foul trouble, that team's in deep trouble.
So does State, actually, for the most part.
Oh, really?
That should be a good
I
game.
was
That's
at-
funny irony.
I was at the Creighton versus Providence game on Valentine's Day this year.
The
and
pink out.
the pink out game. And I wasn't impressed with Creighton. It was a great game though.
Yeah, great game.
Nonetheless.
If they're on though, they're on. Watch out.
Baylor over Santa Barbara, Missouri over Utah State, and Arizona over Princeton. Pretty safe picks there in my opinion. Moving on, I got Purdue going to take on Memphis over FAU. I got Duke over Oral Roberts. I know in 2021 Oral Roberts had that upset, I believe,
Tempting
over
upset
Ohio
pick,
State.
yeah.
Yeah, big
Over Ohio
upset.
State. But
little bit of a different team though this time
Yeah.
around for them, so
Yeah.
that's a good pick.
John Shire in his first year. I'd like to see him, do some things here.
And
in
I
the tournament.
know Lima doesn't want to hear it anymore, but Duke is hot right now. Like
Yeah.
they are getting good at the right time.
Man, that game against Miami in the ACC tourney really crushed me, because if we had our big to play against
Filipowski.
Filipowski,
Yeah.
could have been different. But nonetheless, I got Duke. I got Tennessee over Louisiana. Kentucky over Providence. I'm sorry, Ben. I'm sorry, Mr. Bro. I'm sorry, Mr. Crisafulli, if you're watching this. I got Kentucky over Providence. Kansas State over Montana State. I actually got USC over Michigan State. Boogie Ellis, great point guard. Could be the best in the Pac-12, but that could be my opinion. And then I got Marquette over Vermont. Moving on, Houston over Northern Kentucky. Iowa over Auburn. Got to go the Canes over Drake.
Yes, sir.
Over Drake.
That's
Easy.
a popular upset
Easy.
pick.
Yeah, big.
People like Drake
Easy.
there.
I know people like Drake, but I can't not pick the Hurricanes.
I'm with
in
you.
first
The
round.
singer Drake or the college Drake?
College, obviously.
That's true. Both been people talking about it
Both
lately. Yeah,
upsets.
yeah.
Indiana over Kent State. Iowa State over Pittsburgh. I liked the game last night, Pittsburgh versus Mississippi State.
Great finish.
Pittsburgh really stuck it out to the end there, but I think Iowa State might have a little too much for them. Xavier over Kennesaw State, and I got Penn State over Texas A&M right now. That's where my head's at.
I'm with Will on this one. That's a good one.
Texas over Colgate. Kansas over Howard. I got Arkansas over Illinois. I think Nick Smith Jr. could be one of the most underrated players in the country right now. I think he is a great point guard, and he runs the offense for the Razorbacks. St. Mary's over VCU. UConn over Iona. TCU, taking them over whoever wins tonight. I got the Zags beating Grand Canyon. I got Boise State over Northwestern. And then I got UCLA over UNC Asheville.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not going to badger you with all of my picks because I think we're going to start to overlap, but I think Charleston's underrated. I think that's your Cinderella team right now. I mean, offensively, they are efficient. Their tempo is fantastic. They are ride and die with the three-point shot, and I think there's some good vibes coming from them. I like Creighton in this game. I actually have Creighton making a sneaky run. I just think if they play well, they're okay, and I think they have a decent path. The one that shocked me in that side of the bracket right now is Utah State. I don't think people are talking about them enough. They are one of the most efficient offensive programs in the country, put up points in buckets. So I think unless you're a really good defensive team, which Missouri is not, I think Utah State might run the upset there, so I have them. I actually have Utah State going over Arizona eventually, which we'll get to that. Yeah. Purdue, everybody loves Zach Edey and what Painter's done over there. But can't really stop that. So Memphis Tigers in the house. I'm going to go Duke and Tennessee, which I think is a common matchup. Benny Smith, I'm taking our PC Friars over Kentucky. I think that's going to be a great game. I think they match up well, too. Kentucky is very much like UConn and Marquette in the way their team is made up, so it's just another Big East game to me. I have K-State. I'm taking them with Will. I'm taking USC. Great point guard, but even better rim protection. So when you have a good point guard and some height, that's tough to beat, which will be a great matchup for Marquette if Marquette gets through. On the other side, Houston, Auburn's in the house. I'm taking Auburn over Iowa. I think Iowa's just a little too streaky.
Hey,
What
whoa.
up, Val? How are we doing? Val, who are you taking, Iowa or Auburn?
I'm going Iowa.
Iowa, all right. We're a difference of opinion, but these nachos look great. Damn.
They're the best looking on camera, that's for sure.
Yes. I'm going with Will's Hurricanes. I'm taking them for a little while. Indiana. Kennesaw State. A little fun fact. First time they've ever made the tourney.
Yeah.
So it's cool, but I think they're going to get demolished by
Yeah,
Xavier.
I was going to say. No,
I was wondering where you were going with that for a
just
second.
cool plug. But Penn State, I think Texas A&M is too streaky. They're not good offensively, like shooting the ball. And I think Penn State has got a little momentum right now.
Penn State's playing well right now, yeah.
So I think you got to ride with them. I got Texas, Kansas. I'm going Illinois. This is a hot one for me, but I'm taking VCU. So St. Mary's, I think it's the best St. Mary's team we've seen in a while, but VCU is defense, and they're really good. So I'm going to take them.
VCU's done that upset before from that exact
I know,
spot, which is kind of
5-12,
funny.
which
Yeah.
is great. So I like them. UConn, I'm actually making a really deep run here. I hate to say it because they're a rival of the Friars, but I'm taking UConn for a while. I like Will's pick with TCU and Zaga. I actually had Northwestern with Ben. I think defensively they're a little bit stronger. And then to wrap it out, I had UCLA, but so many question marks with injuries, guys. Like Miami, Houston, UCLA. How does that impact everybody?
Yeah,
you know?
UCLA is one I would actually love to have them going out early, but you look at the matchups and it's like,
It looks like an easier path.
Yeah, even like Northwestern, who I like right now, is kind of just happy to be there. I think it's the second time they've ever made the tournament.
Yep.
So, I don't know. And then even who they get matched up with eventually, right, is Gonzaga, who kind of, again...
Down year for them.
Yeah, a little down for them. Typically chokes at some point in the tournament.
Yeah.
So, I'm with you there. I guess I can just talk about games that I have differently. So I have the College of Charleston and Creighton, both of them three-point shooting teams like Bro talking about. I have both of them in the Sweet 16, actually. I have Furman upsetting Virginia in the first round. I don't think Virginia's very good. Furman shoots hot. Virginia plays good defense, but anytime a team can shoot well, like, boom, you're going to crush that zone.
Totally agree.
Yeah,
I think that there's a good chance at that. So then you have a Charleston-Furman second-round matchup. I kind of like. Feels like the path is set up for Charleston. A team that relies on the three too much, like they're going to run out of gas against Alabama, obviously.
Riding on the three in March is a little dangerous.
Yeah.
So this Virginia team, though, is probably the best offensive Virginia team we've seen in the last few years.
They don't have trouble scoring like some Virginia teams do, but they still are winning their games in the 50s. And I don't know. I like
Tony Bennett is an incredible coach. Just have to say that Tony Bennett's very
coach right there.
He's the class of the ACC right now. Yeah, for sure. I have Alabama and Arizona eventually out of this bracket, but I think Alabama's got too much going on in March.
Yeah.
You know, I think two things. One, they got a lot going on, obviously behind the scenes. Yeah, distractions we'll call them. And then two, when your best player is a freshman in a tournament that typically values experience, you're kind of like,
Brandon Miller.
Brandon Miller.
You know what they call? You know what they call him in Alabama? It's Miller time.
It's Miller time. I know. There's some other things to say about him in other parts of the country, but
please no.
In his
innocent until proven guilty.
Yes, agreed.
You know, the upset that I'm like, in some brackets I put it in, some brackets I haven't right now, is this Utah State. They are so good offensively.
Yeah, they're tempting.
And Arizona is not good defensively. Like, that is their one weakness. I think that could be a shootout, and if it comes out with Utah State, I think that opens up a path for Creighton or Bama to really have a run at the Final Four.
I agree.
In the East, I mean, I have Duke, unfortunately, making it to the Elite Eight here. I just think that they're hot right now. So they're a 5 seed that really is almost like misseeded, kind of like Miami. I think Miami could be a 4. I think Duke could be a 4 or a 3. And, you know, the way they've kind of like ran the table towards the end of the year, you know, I just have them kind of streaking.
You mentioned Tennessee. I wanted to take Tennessee so bad. But in their last 12 games, they're I think they're a 4-8 or 5-7.
They're like a first half of the season, one team, second half of the season.
Starting point guard goes down though, and now it's a whole different team. So I think Tennessee's a little overseeded with like how they finished, but Duke definitely has a good path there.
I will tell Will, I have a grad degree from Miami, so I should be a Miami fan as well.
I do know this, yep.
I hate that they're kind of rivals with UNC being in the ACC, but I'll tell you, they shoot really well. But they essentially don't play defense. So I'm wondering where that's going to run out. I don't think they're going to have a hard time against Houston. I actually have them over Houston, though.
Wow.
Headed to the Elite Eight, and then I think they're going to run into a Texas team that's playing very well with a new coach in there. So
Houston's another one, though, right? Like, they should be the perennial favorite as a number 1 seed. But your starting point guard, Sasser, their best player, arguably, got a big groin injury right now, so it's like how does that shake up their team? Who knows?
I'm also skeptical about any team like them and Gonzaga who doesn't play anyone in the regular season. Anybody good that they played, they've lost to. So, you know, I don't love that.
Yeah.
And all right.
Did you go through UConn?
Oh, I
You're a
didn't.
toxic UConn fan now.
Yeah. So Ben, this is my big. I have 2 brackets, like a lot of people do. In one of them, going with my heart, I got UConn winning the whole thing. I would love that to happen. And the other one, I'm more realistic, and he's losing to Rick Pitino in the first round.
Wow.
So I think that's going to be tough, playing Iona. Iona and then St. Mary's. Both of them are hot.
One of the good.
Yeah.
Iona
matches up with them well, too, size-wise. Like, you got Dama Sanogo and Hawkins and it's just a tough matchup because Iona does have a little bit of size. Their quality is in their guards and their coaching, though. So it's kind of like that historic Rick Pitino Big East matchup that you look for. So we'll see.
And especially when you're talking about Iona, not Iona, St. Mary's, they've been really hot. They have one of the most underrated forwards or centers in the league, in the NCAA right now. And they got a lot of future ahead of them.
But same thing that Lima just said. Who have they played? I feel like every year we talk about
But
Gonzaga and St. Mary's. They don't play any real quality opponents, so you don't know how good they are if they're tested against a VCU, or if we're looking at that side of the bracket and they can get through and play UConn. What happens then?
Yeah, their best win is Gonzaga, who they also lost to. So it's like when you split with a team that also doesn't play anyone.
It's tough.
I'm not that convinced, but
Yeah,
they
I'm
are
not
good.
convinced either.
They shoot well.
They
But
do.
Ben's right. They have to beat Iona, then they have to beat a hot St. Mary's team, and then they're up against Kansas. So good luck.
Yeah, tough path for UConn. I think that winner of UConn and Kansas, if that's the matchup, I think that winner has a real shot at a national championship.
Oh, I agree.
too.
If
That would
UConn
be
even
a
gets to
very
Kansas.
competitive game. Very
Great early
competitive.
round game, huh? Man, that's unbelievable.
So we already done with the the second round, right? Yeah. Now it's time for the Sweet 16. Alabama, Virginia. Of course, I'm going with my my second favorite team, Alabama. Roll Tide. Alabama going to the Elite Eight for the first time in a few years under Coach Oates. I think Coach Oates is a phenomenal head coach for Alabama. You come in, Alabama's known for their football team, 1,000%. But when it comes to their basketball team, you don't know any random players. Only players you know is Brandon Miller. I forgot the guy's name. If I remember it, it's one of the
Miller's
guards.
their stud right now, right?
He
But
is.
a lot of distractions, as we talked about earlier, too. Who do you have coming out of the next matchup?
And Baylor, Arizona. I got Arizona defeating the Bears. They're heading home. I thought Baylor had a great run. Purdue and Duke, and this one is going to be tough. And I got Purdue upsetting
Wow.
Duke.
Not really the upset because of the 1 seed,
Yeah.
but we all know they're tested, right?
Yeah.
So who knows? Who knows?
You got to, like you just said, Zach Edey leads the team in field goal percentage, leads the league in field goal percentage this year.
Yeah, he's very efficient. You'd be that efficient if you were that tall, too.
He gets 7'5".
Kansas State. I got Kansas State. I went so ahead though, but
You had Kansas State over Providence?
yeah, I got
That's who you
Kansas
have 'em
State
going
over
down?
Providence.
Oh, all right.
I went way ahead on
Yeah,
my
yeah.
bracket. It's the elite. I went to the Elite Eight. Yeah, I
All
shouldn't
good,
have.
all good. What do you got on the other side where Houston's at?
I got Kansas State, Marquette, and then of course on the other side, Houston, Auburn. Give me Houston over Auburn, and then Indiana, Miami. I'm rocking with your Tar Heel. Your Hurricanes. Tar Heels is the UNC.
Yeah, we know, Ben.
It's all right. They declined the NIT.
They'll be watching like me.
Iowa State and Xavier. And this one, number 6 seed and number 3 seed. I got to go with Xavier. The Musketeers are doing really well this year. They got Sully Bowie.
Yeah, Sule Boom is legit, man. He's quick. He can score.
fast.
Yeah, and he can shoot well. I think he shoots over, I think it's 39% from 3 this year.
Plus, he's the best name in college basketball.
Yeah,
so.
Sule Boom. And Xavier, man, they've rallied when Zach Fremantle went down. They played really well in his absence, which is
Yeah.
crazy because I think if they were healthy, that might have been a team we were talking about going to the Elite Eight.
I forgot what. I think there was one guy on Marquette, which is one of my favorites in the Big East. Keller or something?
Tyler Kolek.
Tyler Kolek.
Yeah,
Kolek,
Rhode
Kolek.
Island guy right there.
Rhode Island, yeah.
Yeah.
He's
Big East player of the
Big
year.
East player of the year. Yeah, that's what he is.
He's one of my favorites in the Big East right now.
Yeah.
Kid can play. Kid can
Yeah.
play. Who do you have coming out of Penn? You had Iowa State and Texas, right? Who's coming out of that
Texas A&M and Texas.
one? Oh, wow. The Battle of Texas.
Battle of Texas.
Round 1.
And all I gotta say is, hook 'em horns. Xavier, Texas. And then Kansas, Arkansas. I got Kansas over the Razorbacks. And here's the thing. St. Mary's, UConn. I have St. Mary's.
Wow, big
upsetting
upset.
UConn.
Big upset.
Mr. Shea's not going to like that.
No, we'll make sure Shay's not here yet.
TCU, Gonzaga. And I got...
Tough matchup.
Yeah, it's a really tough matchup, but I still got Gonzaga defeating TCU. And then,
if anybody doesn't vote UConn, stay in contention.
Yeah, you're in trouble, Ben.
Detention for me then.
I know. He's not going to like my Iona pick.
Yeah.
I told him I was rooting for UConn, so I feel like I might be getting away. But
all right, anyways.
Bottom matchup. What do you got? What are you going?
Northwestern and UCLA.
Yeah, who you taking?
I'm taking the Bruins. Baby.
Wow, okay.
Good.
All right.
That's a great Sweet 16 you got there, Ben. Starting here, I got Alabama and Virginia. I got Alabama taking that. I really, really believe in Nate Oates and Brandon Miller. I think Alabama has it right now, and Virginia is close to it. I do like Tony Bennett as a coach, and I like Virginia's team. I just think Alabama can edge them out. Could be a close game. Baylor and Missouri, I got Baylor. And then I'm looking at Purdue and Tennessee. You know, a lot of people are going to criticize me for this because Zach Edey is 7'4", 7'5", but I'm taking Tennessee. Go Vols.
Fair.
Go Vols.
Rocky Top.
And goodbye, Purdue. After that, I have Kentucky and Marquette, and I'm going to take Marquette. You know, John Calipari, obviously one of the greatest coaches in college basketball, but it's Marquette's year right now.
Yeah.
And it's not Kentucky's.
That's
so,
a good pick.
Taking them.
I don't like the coach from. In my opinion, I do not like the coach from Kentucky.
Yeah.
Because
Calipari.
Calipari?
the way he treated Bryce Hopkins. Made
Yeah.
That's
Hey, their loss is our gain, right? In Friartown, that's all.
He's a big one-and-done guy, so I feel like he gets criticized for, creating a factory over there. But he's won a lot. It's funny, he's only won one title and kind of like underachieved in the tournament each year. So we'll see what they do.
And now we look at probably my favorite matchup here, Houston and Miami.
Yep.
Houston's the 1 seed, Miami's the 5. If I'm being realistic with myself, do I really think the Hurricanes can pull this off? No. But this is a bracket, and I'm doing this for fun. So I'm going to say yes. The Hurricanes are taking out Houston.
good man.
They're taking out the
It's
Cougars.
March.
Anything can happen here.
Yeah.
They're
So
a hot
yeah,
shooting
we're
team. I like the
taking the
pick.
Hurricanes here.
I like it.
I got to ride with the boys. Pittsburgh and Texas. You know, I had Pittsburgh upsetting Xavier because I love the way this team has been playing. But I am going to take Texas here. Pittsburgh, you know, maybe they get over the hump with Xavier. They don't get past Texas. And then Arkansas and St. Mary's. I obviously just had Arkansas upsetting Kansas. And like I said, I love Nick Smith Jr. Sorry if I'm sounding like I'm crushing on him, but I really I think he's so underrated, and I think he can carry this Arkansas team to a victory over St. Mary's. And then Gonzaga and UCLA. Obviously, when I think of these two teams, I think of when Jalen Suggs hit that buzzer beater to send the Zags to the national championship. But this time I got the Bruins taking out the Zags.
And you got to think, when you talk about Jalen Suggs, you got players on Gonzaga. You got Drew Timme, who's a phenomenal player, phenomenal shooter, and
What's that mustache?
Yeah,
rocking it.
Celebration.
Yeah.
Mr. Christofuli, if he was here, he would have known.
That Gonzaga team, though, is so young. I'm going to actually work backwards now, right? So I'll build off Will. I have TCU and Zaga, and I am picking Zaga, but I think that's kind of where their road ends. And I know UCLA has been a little injured, so their team's a lot different. I think UCLA just gets by, though, and they're into the Elite Eight. I think UConn is going to upset VCU, or not. It's not an upset. I mean, it's chalk there, right? I do think, though, that UConn is going to knock off Kansas. So I have UConn going to the Elite Eight.
That's fair.
But there are a lot of Jekyll and Hyde teams, I think. There are teams that are so streaky, or when they're on, and you can't beat them, and you're not going to ever come close. But maybe it's UConn's tournament. We'll see. I had Penn State and Texas. I took Texas, and then I did have Xavier. I just think Xavier without Fremantle is a totally different team, and Texas is hot right now after firing their coach midway through. So Rodney Terry's done a great job. I think Texas is going to the Elite Eight. And Ben, another battle of Texas. I have Miami just getting beat out by Houston, which sets up Houston versus Texas in the Elite Eight.
I had something similar to that.
On the other side of the bracket, I think Bama comes out. And I think even though Charlestown is like a hot pick for a lot of people, I think their ride kind of ends with Virginia. So I do have it, as Will said, Virginia and Bama. I do have Bama coming out of that into the Elite Eight, though. I think Creighton is legit, and if Creighton gets hot at the right time, which I think they have some favorable matchups, I don't think Baylor's as strong on the defensive side, which could be a good thing for Creighton. You're looking at Creighton and the winner of Arizona and Utah State. Like I said earlier, I picked Utah State, which opens the door for Creighton and Bama into the Elite Eight. I think Purdue will survive. Here's your little nugget, Ben Smith. Purdue, unranked in the preseason poll. They're a number 1 seed. Yeah. No unranked team that got a number 1 seed in the tournament has ever made it past the Sweet 16. So can Purdue kind of be that team? Who knows? I set up Purdue and Duke, but opposite of Will, I'm pulling for Duke here. I think Duke's experience will kind of get them through to the Elite Eight. I'm holding out hope for this matchup, Ben. I'm hoping that PC will knock off K-State, and I'm hoping that Marquette will beat USC and set up another Big East battle of Providence and Marquette to get to the Elite Eight.
Bold.
If it happens, I'm taking our Friars, buddy.
Yeah.
Our Friars versus Duke in the Elite Eight.
And here's the thing, when you talk about Creighton, you've got players who's a 7'1" player as Ryan Kalkbrenner.
Kalkbrenner, yeah, man.
Really great center for Creighton right now. Leads a team in field goals, leads a team in points per game, and he's really a great player for them.
Between Nemhart, Kalkbrenner, and Baylor Shireman. And I'm telling you, they got 2 other people that round out that 5. It's one of the best starting 5s in the country.
Yeah.
They legit don't have anyone else, though, that can play. So that team is like really a risky gamble to take in a bracket. But.
Yeah, I mean, I think that the Sweet 16 is kind of where these fun teams come to die. So College of Charleston, I have going out to Alabama, setting up a matchup with Arizona. You know, Creighton, Arizona over Creighton in the game before.
That Bama, if Bama makes it through, that Elite Eight winner also has a great shot at a national title too.
Yeah.
Arizona or Virginia or Bama, whoever you kind of get through.
Right, and I think Bama and Arizona both have kind of an easy path to get there. That's why it's kind of a boring 1-2 in the Elite Eight there. Yeah. But because I just think Baylor is not that good. You know, they kind of choked last year in the tournament against Carolina, but they, you know, they've had a hard time this year. They're not as good. I want to say they have 10 losses or something.
Yeah.
They're not what they usually are. In a couple of years that they've been really good. Obviously, winning it a couple of years ago. I have Purdue and Duke. It's a nice matchup. I think Duke is hot. I think Purdue is interesting. I think they're kind of like an experiment. They essentially have 0 NBA guys on their roster. They just have a really tall guy and then guys who can kind of shoot. You know what I mean? So it's like without like an all-star backcourt like that, I just don't think they're going to be able to handle a team that's playing as well as Duke is. As much as I hate to say that, I hate Duke. I want them to lose in the first round.
That was hard.
Roberts.
That
But
was hard.
I have them going pretty far. I like Marquette over Providence, unfortunately.
Hey,
I'd love to watch a little Big
great
East rematch in the
I know.
Elite Eight. That'd be great.
Yeah.
But I don't know. I'm with Ben. I could have Providence losing to K-State. Instead, I have them winning and then losing to Marquette. It's kind of like one way or the other. I just think Providence is too streaky to really make a run.
Yep.
But I'd like to root for them.
I really do have a feeling that Providence can beat K-State, but the way that they have been playing for the past few games.
Yeah, you got to go with who's hot.
Yeah, they're not exactly trending in the right direction right now. There are some teams that are, right? Like we talked about Penn State even.
Marquette.
Like Marquette is for sure. You know, and unfortunately they're not. I like Miami over Houston, as I said. I like Miami because they're a team that can get hot shooting the ball. Like I don't know. There's a team like that can make a run.
Isaiah Wong, I was about to say.
He is
right?
he. In my time of watching the Hurricanes, that is the greatest Hurricane that I've seen play. From my time watching the Hurricanes, you know, we've had legends before, but he's one of my favorites of all time.
That combo of Wong and Miller
Yeah.
is dangerous, and even if they're hot, man, that might be enough to just get them through the first couple rounds.
Right.
We got Anthony Walker coming off the bench too.
And they've lit up teams. Like from
Yes.
three, I mean, and not just
Yeah.
from three, but they just shoot the ball very well. And I just think Houston's going to see a team that fast that can shoot that well and be like, oh boy,
Uh-oh.
haven't seen this all year.
No.
Unfortunately, Texas is a team that's also playing well, and I think will play better defense than anybody else they see. So I'm going to have Texas beating them, after knocking off Xavier. Kansas, Kansas has an easy path to get there, as we just talked about. So I just think that they're too hot right
Grady
now.
Dick is one of the best shooters in the country.
Yeah.
Just,
Yeah,
I
for
had to
sure.
say that.
No doubt.
Yeah, he's on fire, and kind of like, their whole team is really, to be
Yeah.
honest. And Bill Self's gonna be back. They just are kind of announcing. So
You talked about it too. It's experience, right?
It is, yeah.
March is experience. Kansas is one of the most experienced teams in
For
there.
sure.
So they definitely have.
Kansas is like the newest Villanova. Now that Jay Wright's gone
your
as
perennial contender.
Yeah, they are a contender, indeed. But here's the thing, Kansas. You got to think they got Jalen Wilson, who's a phenomenal guard for them. Plays really well. He's really fast.
He's a force.
Yeah, he's a force. And you got to think they're defending national champions, and this year in general in Kansas has been like a up in flames because first the national championship, and then Kansas City wins the Super Bowl, so the whole city goes up in flames.
Maybe
Yeah.
will we have a repeat? I mean, could we see it? Who knows?
I would kind of hate to see it, but it could happen
It
easily.
could. Yeah.
Yeah.
As long as Mahomes and the Chiefs aren't in it, so
Yeah, we'd like to see them not do that, right? I would love to see them lose to UCLA, and that kind of like would have been my pick. Talk about an experienced team, but they're kind of like coming off an injury. I don't love it, so they kind of have an easier path.
UCLA has lost two of their top three guys. They're really just down to Jaime.
Jaime Jaquez there, yeah.
Jaquez.
I watched them play in Madison Square Garden earlier in the year, and it was them and Kentucky, both when they were expected to be great. Kentucky kind of tanked a little bit after that, but it was just fun to see Oscar Shibe, Jaime Jaquez,
Yeah.
all these great players play against each other. I mean, between them and Gonzaga, flip a coin. I don't know.
Yeah.
I have UCLA winning, but I'm not even very passionate about it. And either way, they get slaughtered by Kansas in the next round. So
Yep.
all right. So right now,
Elite
Elite Eight.
Let's go.
And I skipped around last time, and here's the thing. Alabama over Virginia, Arizona, Alabama, Arizona in the South region, facing off on the South region championship. And then Purdue and Marquette face off against each other. Houston and Miami, and here's the thing. This game might be going into overtime. But I see your Miami Hurricanes ended up down and losing. Sorry, but they had a great run in the tournament. I have to give them credit. They had, Isaiah Wong, who's a great, phenomenal guard on your team. I think he'll have a breakout game, but at the end of the day, I think Houston survives and lives another day. So, Xavier in Texas. As a Providence fan who dislikes and disheartens Xavier fans, I want them to go home and cry. I'm kidding. I just think I do not like Xavier in person. That's one of my least favorite teams in the conference, in my opinion.
Makes sense.
Now, most his you dislike Florida State, but
I do dislike Florida State. That is true.
Not a bad team to dislike.
I dislike Rhode Island. Let's be honest. I dislike URI. But when it comes from URI, because all the years with Dan Hurley. Anyways, Xavier, Texas. I'm going Texas. Hook 'em horns. So, Battle of Texas 2.0, Houston and Texas. And here's the thing, Kansas and St. Mary's. I got Kansas surviving. I think St. Mary's played really well in the tournament. But at the end of the day, Kansas stays alive. And Gonzaga, UCLA. And this one, I'm going with the Bulldogs, baby.
Wow.
I'm rolling with the Bulldogs. Here we go.
Okay.
What about you, Will?
So going to the Elite Eight, Alabama and Baylor. I'm gonna keep going with Alabama here.
Roll Tide.
Roll Tide. So Tennessee and Marquette.
Oh, you're in the Final Four.
What?
You're
no.
in the Final Four, I thought.
No, I'm in the Elite Eight.
Oh, you are?
Yeah.
Oh, my bad.
So obviously, Purdue. It's a risky pick for me to pick Tennessee over Purdue, but it's not a risky pick for me to pick Marquette over Tennessee. Tennessee is not that team to beat Marquette. I don't think they're at that level. And then we go with Miami and Texas, and this is where I'll retire the Hurricanes here and be straight. We're not beating Texas. They just have too much for us, and it all comes down to, Norchad Omier, is he going to be healthy for this tournament? That's where it starts, for our team. And
I think if they survive, though, without him for that first weekend, there's a real good chance that they can make a run.
Yeah,
if he's healthy for round 2, another 2 weeks, who knows? But
one
that's
can
the
only
wild
hope.
card. Yeah,
one can
right.
only hope. And then Arkansas and UCLA. Like I said, I love Arkansas and Nick Smith Jr., but I think the Bruins got too much for them, even with the injuries. I think the Bruins can take that.
I'm going Bama Creighton, and I'm taking Bama right into the Final Four. I think they're like one of the more dominant teams in the bracket. And if they can avoid all the distractions from all the off-court stuff, I think they're really they are a national championship contender. I had Duke and the Friars of Providence after Friars knock off Marquette, but the ride ends there. I think Duke is hot and more experienced, and the size matchup is a little scary for me with Providence at times. So I have Bama and Duke in the Final Four. On the other side, Battle of Texas, I think Houston could beat Texas, but I am going Texas. I think, like Mr. Lima said, they're sort of untested with these bigger Power 5 teams, so strength of schedule might come out there. And then to avoid detention, I'm taking the UConn Huskies over the UCLA Bruins, so UConn and Texas in the Final Four.
Wow, yeah, I'm kind of all over the place here with my Final Four and Elite Eight matchups, but I guess just what I'll say about the Final Four is I feel like a team that makes it far, like as fun as upsets are and everything, a team that makes it far, shoots the ball really well and consistently, plays great defense, has experience, and has really good coaching. I feel like coaching is so important in March. I'm actually not impressed with Nate Oates these days. I don't love the way he's handled the Brandon Miller thing. The other day he said that he was in the wrong place in the wrong time. That is very inaccurate given the analysis of the situation, right? Will, what were you going to say about?
I totally agree with the coaching aspect and how important it is for, March and March.
And honestly,
Madness.
I'll give Miami credit. I mean, Larenega's been, they've been like, they're just consistently better than they should be at basketball.
Yeah.
And you're not
Miami.
giving Providence credit.
No. I'll give Providence credit for Ed Cooley. Ed Cooley's going to take the Georgetown job in 2 weeks, though. So
That might be my biggest fear right now.
Yeah.
My bracket's going to be destroyed after this weekend anyways, and then I just don't want to have to see Cooley go to Georgetown. But
I just worry if they don't make another little run, like Sweet 16, he's kind of like, oh, what's my ceiling with this team versus
this place.
a program like Georgetown that has won a national championship before and has been in the conversation. But
You said it, though, right? You have to be good at offense and good at defense. Teams this year, though, the 1s, 2s, and 3s, there is no great defender that also shoots the ball really well. They're all kind of streaky in a way, but
yeah, it seems like every team this year is streaky. I'm with you.
experience and coaching might be enough.
So I do have Arizona beating Alabama. I just think that Tommy Lloyd is one of the best coaches in the country right now. He was an assistant at Gonzaga. He's done a really good job with Arizona so far. I have Marquette coming out of the East down here.
They're hot. They're hot.
It could be Duke. It could be John Shire. I would say I have Marquette just playing so well. Shaka Smart has been around the block. He's been successful, and now this is his third school. So, you got to go with that. Texas.
Cinderella at VCU, and then you got Marquette in the right place at the right time now.
Yeah. And then, I got Texas over Miami. Like I said, I think Miami's a hot team. They can make a nice run. Eventually, they'll run into a team that actually plays great defense, and that's Texas. I almost want to give them credit for coaching, but it's kind of hard to, right? Chris Beard was a good coach. He's now hired somewhere else, right? He's going to Ole Miss, so kind of all over. But so far, the new guy doing well in transition. We know nothing about him, but he's doing fine.
To it, apparently.
Yeah, and then I do think Bill Self is probably the best coach in the country right now, right? Like he's kind of
I have to agree with that.
for himself. So I have Kansas over UCLA. Like I said, it could be them or Gonzaga, and I just feel like Kansas is going to take care of it either way. So that's kind of where I'm at.
Final Four and title time.
Yeah, Final Four and title time. So here's the thing.
Buckle up.
We are tight on time. So first things first, for the Final Four, I have Alabama, Purdue, Houston, Gonzaga. And in the Final Four, I have Alabama beating Purdue and Kansas living another day. Kansas defeats Gonzaga, and then excuse me.
So you have Alabama, Kansas title?
Alabama, Kansas title game.
2-1 seeds.
2 number 1 seeds. And in my bracket, I love Coach Oates, and I love Jalen Wilson and all those players on KU. But I think Brandon Miller and that Alabama Crimson Tide defense will absolutely beat the heck out of Kansas.
Oh, wow.
Final score will be 79-71 Alabama.
I like it.
That is pretty great, Ben. Looking at my Final Four, I have Alabama and Marquette, and I'm going to continue rolling with the Tide here. Nate Oates and Brandon Miller going to the national championship. Texas and UCLA. Now, you want to bring up great coaching. I have to, give my props to Mick Cronin and what,
Coach too.
used to be at Cincinnati, here at UCLA, working with what he's got through these injuries. I got them going through Texas to the national championship.
Oh.
Wow, what a ride, huh?
So I got Bama and UCLA, and the 1 seed Bama, it would make sense to pick them here just because of the injuries. But I'm going to ride out the Bruins here. They're winning the national championship, cutting down the net in Houston, 78-74
I like
final
the
score.
risk. I like the risk.
Yeah, and
That's
I love
cool.
that. Honestly, I love him. I love Mick Cronin. I love UCLA. I think they're a fun team. They're kind of like one of the big four historically that have always been good and are good now, along with Carolina, Kentucky, Kansas, and then them. I mean, then they've just been quiet the last few years, and I would love to see them kind of rise back to that level of
I
prominence.
feel like UCLA always shows up at the right time in March too, and Mick Cronin's done a great job out there.
I'm also a huge fan of, even though he wasn't there last year. I mean, this year he's not there this year, but Johnny Zhuzhang, when he used to play for them, one of my favorite UCLA players to
It's
watch.
just fun to watch, right?
Yeah.
Always getting hot at the right time. I have Bama and Duke. I actually have Duke knocking off Bama to go to the championship game. And on the other side, I have Texas and UConn, which I just think would be a really fun matchup to watch.
Yeah.
If we see the UConn that we saw in the first half of the season, where they were a top 4 team in
Number
the country.
2 in the country, right, at one point?
Number 2 for a while. If that UConn shows up, which I think they're trending to again, watch out, because I actually have UConn going to the championship for Duke. But then Mr. Lima talked about experience and coaching, and I think John Shire, a little bit more experience than Danny Hurley, and the team itself has been there, and a lot of those Duke players are back, and I think Duke is going to take the national title.
Yeah, that's a good. I mean, and I can't tell if Mr. Bro is doing that to make me angry.
When you're
or not,
sitting
but
under Coach K and you're able to watch him
Yeah.
and progress through him, I think you're already a
I
top coach.
can't buy into the chalk, like having 1s and 2s and stuff in the championship this year. I just don't see it. I think.
well, in a year that's had how many teams at number 2 in the country and then lose, or number 1 in the country and then lose? So
I just think
I'm
it's
with
going to
you
be
there.
a wild bracket. So I'm going Duke over UConn.
And it's funny, John Shire's not experienced, but he is experienced
But he
in
is
that he
underneath.
obviously played and was great, coached and was great, as an assistant, saw greatness in front of him. So he kind of inherited.
That team is hot right now too. So that's why I was going more of the teams that are feeling hot right now. So UConn and Duke. But what do you got, Lima?
Yeah, I give you, that's a good pick. I would like that. That's funny. Those are 2 new bloods, teams that have been great in the last 30 years. So if we see a UConn team like we saw in 2012 when they won the title, they kind of went on
Kemba.
got hot at the right time. So
Shabazz
I'm with you
Napier
there.
used to play there.
Shabazz, yeah.
Yeah, I have a little, I guess less. I have a lot of upsets early, but like I said, less upset heavy in the final round. I do have Arizona over Marquette, 2 seeds. So Arizona headed to the championship against Kansas over Texas. I think Texas is hot. I've seen so many people picking picking Texas to win the whole thing, but I just think Kansas is great. Bill Self's great. The team's great. Unfortunately, I have Kansas winning the whole thing. I don't want to.
It's a great pick, though.
But I do.
They're such a good team.
It's a solid pick.
Yeah, it is a solid
They're
pick.
a great team. I think they've been consistently great all year. They returned some key pieces from last year. And then ultimately, you have great shooting, great defense, and coaching. So I have them 77-75 over Arizona in a great game. So we'll see how that goes.
Love it. That's awesome.
So yeah, that is pretty much the end of the show. There's a lot of things that's happening here at March Madness this year, and we have plenty of good teams this year as well. So especially, I just want to thank you both for coming on today. Especially, thank you guys for coming on. It was a big, tight schedule, and yeah, glad to get you guys on today.
No, happy to be here. There's Mr. Carvalho stealing a nacho off the top.
Nachos.
Smart man.
Zoom in on that.
Happy birthday to Ben.
Shout out to the birthday boy.
Thanks to Ben and Will for having us, Mr.
Appreciate
Parati.
you guys.
Yep,
Anytime.
appreciate it. Hoping for a
Anytime.
great tournament. Best time of the year right here.
Now we just
Yes,
get to
sir.
enjoy some games.
Give a shout out to Cask and Big for letting us film here and record.
Yeah, Mario and the crew. Appreciate
Mario and
them
the crew.
having us.
Appreciate the Riberos.
Yeah.
All right.
Too bad that too bad that the Providence Friars play on Dartmouth's Finest.
Oh, is it during?
It is right in the middle. I may or may not be judging and watching at the same time.
All right. And on that note,
Yep.
Yeah.
Welcome everybody back here to DHS SportsCenter. I'm here with owner Mario Ribeiro, who owns this fabulous restaurant in Cask and Pig. Welcome.
Yeah, thanks for having me, and thanks for hosting over here.
Yeah, your pleasure as well. Tell us about your franchise. I know you have two restaurants,
Yep.
one here and one in Fairhaven, Boca as well. And how did this all really start?
Yeah, so it started back in 2016. I had owned the Pasta House for quite a few years, and it was time for a new venture. So I came up with this concept, which is like barbecue sports bar type restaurant, and we developed the entire concept from start to what it is now, and yeah, it's taken off. So it's a hot spot in town. Great place to come watch a game, get some good food, good beverages, family friendly, which is great. You guys like coming here?
Yeah, heck yeah.
Amazing.
Awesome.
Yeah, and speaking on that,
Yeah.
let's talk about Boca as well, because
Yeah.
you guys just renamed it to Boca now.
We did.
And I heard like your food is like good at Boca as well. Like
Yep.
you guys got really great food. And
Thank you.
How I just want to know, how did this really start when you first started owning Boca and Pasta House?
From the beginning?
Yeah, from the
well, I was
start.
young. I was a young man. I was only 24 years old when I started, when I first purchased the business. So I'm a lot older now. I won't tell you exactly how old, but a lot older. Old enough to have white hairs. So yeah, it's, it started as a dream, and, it's continued. We've been successful now for 20-some-odd years. And, yeah, Boca's great. It's going well. It was, a whole rebrand change. The Pasta House was in existence for over 40 years. So making a change like that was a bit drastic, but something that, I felt was necessary right now. Try to build for the future. My son is somebody who's really interested in taking on the business one day. So I'm kind of setting it up for him. if you will. So Boca's just it's my stamp, basically, our family stamp on a new restaurant and a new brand.
Yeah. Well,
So a question I have for you, Mr. Ribeiro, is what is your favorite part about owning a restaurant? Are there any perks to it? Anything that you like and you like more than others? Like, what is your favorite part about just being able to own a restaurant?
That's a great question. Well, there's a lot of great parts. First of all, the people who I employ, they're like family. So you take them in and they become like family. So that's it's a second family, really. That's one of my favorite parts. And the people that you meet every day, your guests that come in, and you see the experience that they have. And our goal is to just give everybody an awesome experience. When they come to eat at the restaurant, you want to make sure everyone is happy, satisfied, and wants to come back.
yeah.
So that's the goal. And that's ultimately what you strive for in this business. Yeah. So that's probably my favorite part. And then, the food. I just love the food.
The ribs.
The ribs are good. What do you think of the nachos?
They're really good. It really reminds me of these nachos. Really remind me of there's same thing, trash can nachos at Guy Fieri's restaurant in Foxwoods.
Yeah.
So it kind of does remind me of
We
that.
didn't steal that idea from him.
I know, but it's way different.
Yeah.
I could tell because Guy
It is
his
different, yeah.
restaurant, he has like pork and all that kind of stuff.
Mm-hmm.
But you guys have like sour cream, chorizo, all that kind of options,
Right.
which is really cool. And adding on to that, so operating this business, two restaurants. First off, is it like a big pain going back and forth to both restaurants?
No, I enjoy it. I mean, honestly, being just at the Pastel's for years, it gets a little boring. Same spot. I was there for 20 years, and I enjoy, two different types of restaurants. First of all, they're completely different from each other, and I like the challenge. I really do. So, but going back and forth is great. I love it, and I wouldn't change it.
Yeah, especially running these businesses and operating these. Especially going from Dartmouth to Fairhaven, it's
Yep.
it's a 20-minute drive from
Yep.
here to Boca, but especially I can
Hey,
experience her.
Can I ask you a question?
Yeah.
Whose birthday is it today?
Oh my gosh.
Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, dear Ben. Happy birthday to you. All right,
Did I
Ben.
blow it out?
No, it doesn't. It'll go out.
Oh, go out.
Yeah. It'll go out. Eventually, it'll go out.
Yeah. That's awesome.
Yeah. So yeah, somebody told me it was your birthday today. So
A little birdie.
yeah.
The big
Congrats.
1-6.
Yep. So, one more. Do you want?
I'm good with questions.
All right.
Good.
So
You want to talk? How about talking sports? You want to talk some sports
Oh,
with me?
yeah.
I know it's too late. I know. I missed out on that. It's all good.
yeah. Anyways, but are you interested in the future getting another restaurant?
It's always a possibility. I mean, we'll see. We take it day by day, and if we find the right opportunity, then yeah, we could certainly look at that. Yeah.
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 Well, I want to thank you very much, Mario, for coming on the show today. And if you guys want to come to Cask and Pig, the location will be in the description below. Once again, thank you, Mario, and
Thank you
we'll
very much.
see you all soon.
Thanks for having me. Appreciate it, guys.
Thank you.
Great job.
Thank you.